Hello, everybody. My name is ThepicLuke. Wow, I haven't said that in a while. But anyways, there is a couple reasons why I haven't been posting. A, my middle school football season was going on, and we had practice every day until about 5:30, so I didn't really have time. But that season's over, so I can get back to doing videos. And B, I've kind of been waiting because I'm doing this new series now, and it's going to be a weekly show about the Chicago Bulls, and it's basically going to be me talking about the games, evaluating them, and talking about news about the Bulls, any trades or anything, any roster changes, any free agent signings, anything like that. And usually, I'll do these weekly, probably every Saturday, usually. But since it's the first game, and it was an interesting game to say the least, I'm going to do a video about it just, to get a feel for what this series is going to be like. So, without me rambling on too much, let's get into it. This opening night edition of the Blunders of our Bulls. This game should have been an easy win to start the season. The Hornets don't have Kemba Walker anymore, and they are going into rebuild mode faster than the Tigers. But the Bulls will find a way. First, let's start by talking about the starting lineup. It's a good group. The only thing I would change, though, is I would start Kobe White. I know he's a rookie, but he's the best point guard we have. I know, that's really sad. As the first quarter started, they got a 4-point lead. Quickly to blow it by forgetting that you have to play defense in basketball. In the first half, Lauri Markkanen hard carried the team. Nobody else did anything. Zach LaVine played like he had never touched a basketball until last week in the first half. It was embarrassing. Offensively, the Bulls did okay, but their defense made James Harden look like a defensive player of the year. I mean, come on. They gave up 23 threes in this game. 23! How bad at perimeter defense do you have to be to let a team of Division II college players play like Ray Allen? In the second quarter, they were down by 16. But thankfully, they decided to at least play minimal defense and cut the lead to 8 at halftime. The third quarter, the Bulls played like they should have played all game. They dominated on offense and somehow played decent defense. This is how the whole game should have went, not just the third quarter. This game was also Kobe White's first NBA game. And for his first game, he played pretty well. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, a strong outing for the rookie. I wish I could say the same for the other 11 players besides White and Markkanen. In the fourth quarter, with 5 minutes to go, they led by 10. I thought they finally woke up and put this dying Hornet to sleep. But again, the Bulls found a way. They went back to their first half style of play with no defensive effort. And with under 2 minutes to go, the game was tied. What follows is why the Bulls are the Bulls.
Every game's going to be a different feel. Wade back in, biggest shot of the night. Hornets lead by 3. Chicago doesn't have a timeout. LaVine goes inside. Only 4.5 remaining.
Right there.
All the way in the backcourt. Devontae's got it. Throws it up in the air. Bacon. And the Hornets are going to win. The Hornets win.
This game should have been won. If they played any defense at all, they would have won in convincing fashion. This team better not play this bad the whole year. People say this team will win 35 to 40 games this season. I hope so, but if they keep playing this bad, they won't come close to that. I guess we'll just have to find out as this concludes the first episode of the Blunders of our Bulls. Man, this team sucks. This week on the Blunders of our Bulls, there were 5 games played since my last episode, so let's get started. The Grizzlies are one of those average teams. A team that's not bad, but not a playoff team. They're just going to be chilling there at 9, 10, and 11 seeds. In the last game, Roy Markkinen carried and Levine did absolutely nothing. This game, those roles were switched. Zach LaVine had 37 points and absolutely dominated. Kobe White also went off. He had 25 points. He dominated as well. Roy Markkinen, on the other hand, only had 9 points. That's a yikes. If he wants to be a star in this league, he has to be consistent. Let's just say that's not consistent. This game was back and forth for the most part, but then late in the fourth quarter, the Bulls took a lead and never looked back. Good win, boys. Try to keep it going, please. They didn't keep it going. The Raptors, yes, they got carried by Kawhi to the finals, but they're still a solid team this year. And apparently, solid is good enough to absolutely destroy the Bulls. Nobody on the Bulls knew what they were doing and played absolutely horrible. The Bulls' highest scorer was Zach LaVine, no surpriser there, but you know how many points he had? 11. But hey, watch out for the Raptors. They could sneak into the playoffs with an 8 seed. They, just because they don't have Kawhi, that doesn't mean that they can't, at least make it to the first round of the playoffs. I mean, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, they're all pretty good players. For the Bulls, they would be lucky to get 9th. On a positive note, the Bulls have a better record than the Warriors. I mean, it won't last for long, but at least it's something. But hey, bounce back next game, you're playing the Knicks. You'll be fine. Oh my god, you lost to the Knicks! You let Bobby Portis absolutely destroy you. Your defensive struggles were definite in the fourth quarter. But the rest of the game, you were killing them. Please tell me how you didn't win. They were up 16 points in the third quarter. And of course they blew a 16-point lead, because why wouldn't they? If you can't beat the Knicks, then how will you beat a real team? Please at least save my soul and beat the Cavs. Lord have mercy on my souls, the Cavs are a decent team. We didn't even play bad, the Cavs just outplayed us. Somehow they did. Zach and Rory both had 16 points, but that wasn't enough. Otto Porter had 15, Kobe White only had 8. The Bulls kept it close, but the Cavs apparently are just the better team this year. Don't ask me how. The Cavs are playing good. It's whatever. So disappointing. The Bulls are now 1-4 and about to play the Pistons. Lord have mercy on our Bulls. You're kidding me, right? I know Detroit teams are choke artists, but we beat the Pistons? And Otto Porter was the leading scorer? What kind of dark magic am I watching? Derrick Rose got cheered for pretty much everywhere he went. And I mean, he should have. He did a lot for the Bulls, He would have done more if he didn't tear his ACL. I'm still thinking about what could have been. But hey, the Bulls played good. The Pistons did not. They look like they have a lot more problems to deal with than the Bulls do. And, I don't understand how the Bulls lose to the Knicks and the Cavs, but we beat the Grizzlies and the Pistons. That doesn't make sense to me. If only the Bulls could play like this every game, but sadly that's not the case. At least we're not 0-6. The Bulls end up at 2-4. We play great on offense, but the defense... You know what the defense is like. I don't even have to explain it at this point. But we won't be able to win if we don't have a good defense. We have to fix that right now. But I don't know if we'll fix it or not. We'll just have to find out, because this concludes the second episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. You already know how this works, so let's get into the 3 games played this week. The Pacers are a decent team that has a lot of potential. Their roster has a lot of good players on it. Victor Oladipo, Malcolm Brogdon, and Miles Turner, just to name a few. The Bulls didn't play bad, they just lost to the better team. I mean, Zach LaVine had 26 points, Markkinen had 11, Kobe White only had 1 somehow, come on now, you're better than this. but that's besides the point. The Bulls played a decent game. The Pacers are just the better team. You know, I'm not mad at it. They played alright, they just didn't win the game. Whoa, for a second there, I thought you were just about to upset one of the best teams in the league. But then the second half came around, and as always, the Bulls found a way. I'm not mad at this performance. If we played like this every game, we would have beat half the teams in the league. Zach LaVine had 21 points. You know, he's really playing good right now. If he keeps playing this good, you know, I really see some good games in the future. You know, the Bulls would have won this game, but the Lakers have these guys, you know, I don't know if you've heard of them, they're called LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You know, the Bulls, you tried your best, and I'm proud, but in the end, they're just a lot better than you. Like, really, really better than you. Yeah. See, guys, look how fun it is to destroy a team with a couple of young stars that's worse than you in every single way possible. But then you realize that's how the rest of the NBA feels like when they play you. Anyways, this is the best game of basketball you've played since the Grizzlies game. You were solid all around, and that's all you had to be to beat the Hawks. They're pretty easy to beat. I mean, yeah, there's nothing really to say about it. Currently, as of recording this episode, the Bulls are playing the Rockets. This game will be in next week's episode, so for now, all I gotta say is, Houston, please don't go easy on them so I have false hope that they're gonna win. Now the Bulls are 3-6. Not the worst record, but we are 13th in the conference. We just have to play better if we want to move up in the conference. But the schedule for the next 2 weeks is deadly. We play the Bucks twice, we play the Nets. Bro, that's just gonna be a yikes. I just hope we win at least 2 of those games in the next upcoming week. Do I think we'll win 2 games? Well, I don't know. We'll just have to find out on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls, the basketball gods have taken their first victim, Otto Porter Jr. He injured his foot in the victory against the Hawks. He will miss at least 2 to 3 games, maybe even more. So now without our starting small forward, let's get into the game we played this week. The Rockets, led by the unstoppable James Harden, are looking very dangerous this year. The Bulls didn't stand a chance against the Harden-Westbrook duo. The Bulls kept it close until the middle of the third, and that's when everything fell apart. Zach LaVine couldn't continue his hot streak and only scored 11 points. You know, there's a problem that I'm starting to notice though. Lauri Markkanen. He's been quiet ever since the Hornets game and is starting to become a huge issue. Zach LaVine can't carry the team by himself. He needs Markkanen to step up. Of course, Markkanen's play didn't help the Bulls as they got blasted by the Rockets 117-94. Last time the Bulls played the Knicks, they played horrible and lost. In the first, history looked like it was going to repeat itself. But thankfully the Bulls started playing basketball by the second and got an easy victory over the Knicks. Kobe White had been quiet the past couple of games, but he got back on track with 25 points as him and Zach LaVine led the team to victory. See, look, it's not that hard to beat the Knicks. If you play decent and have little to no mistakes, you'll be fine. Going into the game, I knew the Bulls had no chance beating the Bucks led by Giannis Antetokounmpo, but they actually kept it close. I mean, they didn't play good enough to win, but they did play good enough to have a close game with the Bucks, so that's something at least. Kobe White had 26, Zach LaVine had 25, and fouled out of the game, which is surprising. The Bulls kept it close with one of the best teams in the East, so I'll take it. The Bulls are now 4-8 and 12th in the Eastern Conference. The East is a pretty weak conference right now, so all they have to do is get close to 500 and they'll be in the 7th or 8th seed. To do this, Lauri Markkanen will have to step up and get back on his game. Hopefully he does, as this concludes the 4th episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls, It's a shortened week because I can't record tomorrow, but let's get into the games played. The Nets are without Kyrie right now, and of course no one knows if Kevin Durant will return this season or not. But this should have been an easy win for the Bulls. I mean, if the Nets are without their two star players. But the Bulls found a way. Zach LaVine did his best to carry as per usual with 36 points, and Lauri Markkanen struggle continue as he only scored 16 points. The Bulls, as usual, underplayed their opponent and lost an easy game. The Bulls rematched the Bucks after last week's loss. For the first 3 quarters, the game was very close. It was back and forth, and it was anyone's game. Until the fourth, because as per usual, the Bulls stalled out in the fourth quarter and lost the game. Zach LaVine only scored 11 points, and him and the rest of the Bulls didn't really have any good scoring nights. Giannis is just better than us, and that's why we lost. Well, except at the free throw line, though. The basketball gods demanded sacrifice. We lost 2 people this week. Otto Porter's foot injury is looking to be a bit more serious than we thought. He's getting an MRI and might be sidelined for 2 more weeks. Luke Cornett got nose surgery on Monday. He is expected to miss 7 to 10 days. I don't know what it is, but the Bulls are like the Pistons' kryptonite. I mean, every time we play them this season, they just fall apart. I mean, they had no star players out. They just played horrible. But Zach LaVine had his worst game of the season. 5 points in 27 minutes played. But Lauri Markkanen finally decided to play good again and scored 24 points. Good win all around for the Bulls, but the Pistons are looking like they're about to fall apart. The Bulls are now 5-10 and 10th in the Eastern Conference. Their place in the East improved, but they didn't win more games than they usually do. That just shows how bad the East is. Maybe the Bulls can get to 9th by next week. We will find out on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls, we have a lot of games to do today, so let's get started. Jimmy Butler, my old friend, you're on the Miami Heat now, and I have to say, you are playing pretty well. You scored 27 points in the win over our Bulls. As for the Bulls, Zach LaVine got held to 15 points as the Bulls lost the game to a red-hot Miami team. Jimmy, it's good to see you again, and good luck to you, sir. The Bulls just got outplayed, and that's why they lost. The Bulls rematched the Hornets after their loss opening night. They were looking like they were going to lose again, but Zach LaVine decided to go Super Saiyan 2 and not let that happen. He had a career night, 49 points and 13 threes made, which is almost an NBA record, but not quite because it's still held by that overrated guy from the Warriors. Zach LaVine is just too good for this team. You know, he really shouldn't be here. He's too godly. You know what, just play the clips.
LaVine lost it on the way up, regathered, and still hit it. It's been that kind of night for Zach LaVine. 12-point fourth quarter for Terry Rozier. Long three. Oh my goodness. From Gastonia, Zach LaVine has made 12 out of 16 triples when the Hornets needed him. Lead back up to 5. Kobe White, Satoransky. They won't go away. Good God. Always in the rearview mirror. Trouble. Loose. Chicago's got it. Oh, no! You're kidding!
The Trailblazers are not playing that good right now, but their talent advantage was too much for the Bulls to handle in this game. Zach LaVine only got 18 points after a career night. Lauri Markkanen is playing like he wants to be benched, only scoring 10 points. The raw talent of Portland was enough for them to win this game. Damian Lillard is just too good. Luckily, we get to kill the Warriors next game, so that's something. Oh my God, you lost to the Warriors. Their best player right now is Draymond Green, and you still lost. You let a team of inexperienced young players destroy you. Wow, I feel like I'm saying the same things I did when they lost to the Knicks. Don't make this a trend, guys. After getting blown out by the Portland Trailblazers, the Bulls played a way better game in the rematch, but it wasn't good enough. Carmelo Anthony decided to go back to Denver form and score at will against us. At this point, the Bulls' flaws have been exposed. No one except Zach LaVine can score, and our defense is subpar at best. We need to fix these flaws by next week. The Bulls are now 6-14 and 12th in the Eastern Conference. Our schedule is a lot easier than it has been, so we could go on a winning streak if we play like we should. Let's hope I talk about some wins on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. It's a short week with only 3 games, so let's get into it. The Kings are having a very average season this year. They have a good backcourt with De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield, but De'Aaron Fox is out with a left ankle sprain. His absence was the downfall for the Kings in this game. Zach LaVine scored 28 points, and he continues to be the only bright spot on this team. Lauri Markkanen scores 20 points for only his third 20-point game of the season. Wow, that's really sad. The Bulls get past the injured Kings for their first win of December. Keep it up, guys. Beat the Grizzlies next game. The Bulls introduced their new city uniforms in their game against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are without Ja Morant, and he is out with a back injury. Except for a strong second quarter, the Bulls and the Grizzlies had a very back-and-forth game. Zach LaVine scoring more than 20 points is just a routine now. Lauri Markkanen, even though he only scored 15 points, he is looking a lot more confident shooting the basketball. 5 for 9 shooting and 4 for 8 from the three-point line. Jonas Valanciunas tried his best to carry the Grizzlies, but it wasn't enough as the Bulls get a victory. The Bulls are 1-0 with the city uniforms, so maybe they're good luck. Too bad we only wear them about 7 times this season. You know how I said the Bulls are the Pistons' kryptonite? Well, the Warriors are the Bulls' kryptonite. I mean, we lost to the Warriors again. It seems like when we play them, we forget how to play defense. Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen had good scoring games, but that couldn't save their lack of defense. The Bulls almost came back because the Warriors lack of defense, but for the first time this season, Zach LaVine didn't come in clutch. The Bulls are now 8-15 and 11th in the Eastern Conference. They won 2 of their 3 games this week, but it wasn't enough to significantly move up in their conference. The Bulls will have to win at least 3 of their 4 next games to move up. Hopefully they do on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. There were 4 games this week, so let's get started. Welcome back, my old friend. You weren't the star of this one because somehow this one hero guy decided to turn into Kyle Korver in overtime. Zach LaVine only had 18 points, and that was the main reason we lost this game. Lauri Markkanen had 22 points, but he wasn't clutch as he missed a game-tying 3 in the final seconds of overtime.
Up that 3. Here we go. 4 seconds left. Into Markkanen. The 3 to tie. He missed it.
The Raptors destroyed us last time we played them, but in this game it was back and forth until the final buzzer. Zach LaVine had 20 points, and it would have been 22 if he hit the game-winning shot.
LaVine with a running shot that's no good. Rebound tapped out of there, and the Raptors.
Lauri Markkanen only had 13 points and went back to his scoring troubles. I can't be mad at this game. We played great. The Raptors just scored the last bucket. You know, this is exactly what we needed after losing 2 heartbreaking close games. We played the Hawks and absolutely dominated. Zach LaVine had 35 points and led the charge. Lauri Markkanen scored 22 after his horrible performance last game. Overall, we're just better than the Hawks, so it was no contest. I'm not mad that we lost to the Hornets. I'm mad that we only scored 73 points. I mean, it's the Hornets. They shouldn't be locking us up that much. I mean, they only scored 83, so it was just a boring game. Zach LaVine had 12. Lauri Markkanen had 10. This was just a defensive game, and that's why we lost. Because, you know, our defense is subpar best. The basketball gods demand sacrifice. Otto Porter is going to be out another 4 weeks with his foot injury. It is way more severe than we thought. from what started at 2 weeks at most has turned into 7. The Bulls are now 9-18 and 11th in the Eastern Conference. We could have won all 4 games this week. They were all close, but the Bulls found a way. They need to start winning and fast to get into playoff contention. Hopefully they start a winning streak on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls, all 3 games were close this week, so let's talk about them. The Bulls played that other LA team on Saturday. The Clippers were without Kawhi Leonard that night because they were resting him. Little did they know the Bulls would have this much fight in them. The Bulls had one plan: stop Paul George. It didn't work though, as he scored 27. But the Bulls were determined to keep the game close. Zach LaVine had 31 and continues to carry the team. Thaddeus Young came out of nowhere and scored 17 points off the bench. In the final minute of the game, tied at 106, Zach LaVine once again shows why he is clutch.
To throw in one more time. 5 seconds to play. LaVine finds a seam. Foul! Count the basket with 2 seconds to play.
Down by 3, Paul George does the same. Not really. The Bulls get a good win over the Clippers. Maybe you would have won if you didn't know what load management was. The Bulls played the Thunder on Wednesday. They had the best first half of the season. I mean, they scored 70 points in the first half and had a 25-point lead in the third. They have to win this game. But of course, the Bulls found a way. I mean, how do you blow a 25-point lead to the Thunder? I mean, you literally had a 25-point lead in the third, and then you took Zach LaVine out, and you literally fell apart. I mean, come on. You literally were guarding Chris Paul with big men. Of course he's going to take advantage of that. And you literally decided to give Chris Dunn all the clutch shots in the fourth quarter. Why would you do that? You know he's trash. You know he is trash. And he literally took like 7 shots. And then, of course, the refs had to be absolutely garbage. But, it doesn't even matter because, the Bulls are nothing without Zach LaVine. They absolutely suck. They're so trash. Sorry, I got out of character. Zach LaVine had 39 points. You know what? This is a disgrace. LaVine's playing like an all-star, but we still suck. We take him out of the game for 5 minutes and the 25-point lead is gone. It would also help if we had any perimeter defense. Also, the refs were horrible. This game was terrible. Next! The Bulls played a struggling Wizards team without. After the Thunder game, the Bulls needed to win this game. But they didn't feel like it as they were trailing most of the game. Zach LaVine had 24, but Lauri Markkanen finally decided to play good and scored 31. If him and LaVine both played good, we would be a good team. But that can't happen because we're the Bulls. But today, it wasn't the Bulls blowing a lead for once, as the Bulls were down 18 in the fourth quarter. They came back to force overtime because of clutch free throws by Zach LaVine. In overtime, it was back and forth until a great pass by Zach LaVine to Wendell Carter Jr. for the win. The Bulls are now 11-19 and 11th in the Eastern Conference. If they didn't blow that lead in the Thunder game, they would be tied with the Pistons for 10th. We play them on Saturday, so if we win, we will move up. Hopefully they do, as this concludes this episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. It was a short week as they only played 2 games, so let's get started. The Bulls played the Pistons on Saturday. The whole game was back and forth as usual for Bulls games. Zach LaVine had 33 and he is putting up a strong case to be in his first All-Star game. But this is a special game. I was there live. So here are some highlights that I recorded while I was at the game. Get him, Zach. Hey! Zach LaVine. Goated. Hey! Get a marketer. Okay.
Finally, he's on the board.
You don't say. Oh! Kobe White. Oh! pulled a double step back on him. Zach Levine. Only good one on this team, I swear. Up 10. Zach Levine. Ice this. Ice it. With a free throw. Let's go. W. Let's get it. But once again, the Bulls are the Pistons' kryptonite as we go up 3-0 on the season series. The Bulls played the Magic in their last game. This game was the case of the Magic being up the whole game, but the Bulls always keeping it close and trying to come back. But their efforts weren't enough. Zach Levine had 26, as that's not a surprise, he pretty much almost averages that. But he could not single-handedly get past the Magic as they played a strong game. Just another close game that the Bulls lost. The basketball gods have some good news for us. Otto Porter finally has a return date for his foot injury. He is expected to return near the All-Star game. The Bulls are now 12-20 and 10th in the Eastern Conference. The Bulls aren't likely to move up as their schedule for the next week is difficult. But the Bulls have beaten the Clippers and almost beat the Lakers, so anything is possible. Hopefully they get some upsets on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls, there were 3 games played, so let's get started. The Bulls needed a break from all those close games they've been having, so playing the Hawks was just what they needed. This game was easy. The Bulls dominated the entire game. With all this success, Zach Levine only scored 19 points. But Lauri Markkanen scored 25 as he is starting to turn his season around. This Hawks team is terrible. I feel bad for Vince Carter. He deserves to spend his last season on a way better team. But the Bulls had an easy game and an easy win. Too bad the next game is impossible to win. This is the impossible game to win I was talking about. The Bucks are the best team in the league, led by the one and only Giannis can't shoot free throws Antetokounmpo. Zach Levine had 19 points and Lauri Markkanen had 18. This game was over before it started. The Bulls didn't have a chance. They tried to keep it close, but in the end, the Bucks are the best team in the league, so it was no contest. You know what, Bulls? I hope you enjoyed your break from close games, because the Jazz are in town. This game was back and forth the whole game, and it was anybody's game. But of course, in the fourth quarter, the Bulls found a way. Zach Levine had 26, but sadly, he can't play all 5 positions on the team. The Bulls just lost another close game. What a surprise. The Bulls are now 13-22 and 10th in the Eastern Conference. They don't have the easiest schedule next week, but all the games are winnable. It would be a miracle if we go on a winning streak, but maybe the Bulls can find a way on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls, there were 4 games played this week and they weren't pretty. The Celtics are a very good team with a lot of depth. This game was close until the end of the third quarter when the Bulls found a way. Zach Levine scored 35 and honestly it's getting upsetting at this point. He's playing outstanding every game, but the rest of the team can't do anything. Boston was without Kemba Walker in this game, yet they still beat us. I guess that's what happens when you have a functioning bench. The Mavericks are going to be a tough team to beat. Luka is having an MVP type season, and there is no slowing him down. Zach Levine had 20, Lauri Markkanen had 26, but we can't just have 2 people score all our points. As a team, we are horrible at scoring. I mean, we are last in the league in field goal percentage. Our bench needs to remember how to play defense, and our point guards need to stop passing the ball like rookie Lamar Jackson. We can't expect to beat a good team if we play like this. Pick up your act, Bulls. Let's get to the next game. See, Chicago, take notes. This is how to build a young team. The Pelicans are filled with young talent and are basically a better version of the Bulls. This was probably the most ugly scoring first quarter I have seen by 2 teams. It was 15-13 Bulls at the end of the first. But after the first, the Pelicans started to score. Zach LaVine had 32 because he hard carries, but once again, you need a bench to win. We lost this game by playing horrible defense and even worse offense. If we go on a 4-game losing streak, then that is sad. I have 4 words for this game. Are you kidding me? Zach LaVine scored 43 points. 43! And we still lost. Kobe White, the rookie, scored 23, and we still lost. The Pacers are without Victor Oladipo, and we still lost. Our biggest problem is that 1 or 2 players on the team go off, but nobody else scores at all. We need everybody to score to be a good team. We went on a 4-game losing streak. That is embarrassing. We have so much young talent, but we can't play as a team. This is a disgrace. The basketball gods demanded more sacrifice. Wendell Carter Jr. is going to miss 4 to 6 weeks due to a high ankle sprain. Now without their starting center and small forward, the Bulls are not looking so good. The Bulls are now 13-26 and 12th in the Eastern Conference. They went from 9th down to 12th because of a 4-game losing streak. But they play the Pistons today, and they are the Pistons' kryptonite. So maybe they can get out of the losing streak on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. There were 4 games played this week, so let's talk about them. I think we can now confirm that the Bulls are the Pistons' kryptonite. I mean, every time we play them, the Pistons player gets the playoffs. Zach LaVine had 25, which is normal, but Luke Cornett had 15 off the bench out of nowhere and was lights out from 3. In the first half, this game was dominated by the Bulls. I mean, the Pistons couldn't stop them. In the second half, Andre Drummond was ejected for throwing a basketball at Daniel Gafford's head. But after that, the Pistons started to come back. I mean, come on, Bulls, did you forget that you had to play the rest of the game? But in the end, the Bulls won and swept the Pistons in the season series. The Celtics are a hot team right now, and they are playing amazing. Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum cannot be stopped. In this game, the Celtics dominated with incredible ball movement. The scoreboard does not tell the whole story. The Bulls never had a chance in this game. Zach LaVine had 30 points because he's the only one on this team that knows how to score. The Bulls' defense in this game was terrible. Most of the Celtics shots were open ones. It goes to show what having good ball movement and depth can do for a team. The Wizards are just like the Bulls, a team with young talent that is struggling. This game was back and forth for a while. No team could get an advantage on the other, until the fourth quarter when for the first time, the Bulls outplayed a team. Not Zach LaVine outplayed a team. The Bulls as a team outplayed the Wizards. Zach LaVine had 30 points while being lights out from the 3-point line. Thaddeus Young had 18 points off the bench. The Bulls got a win they needed against the Wizards. The Bulls played the 76ers yesterday. They were down by double digits most of the game, barely keeping it close. Even without Joel Embiid, the 76ers were able to easily beat the Bulls. Zach LaVine had 23, but he was off in this game. He went 0 for 7 from 3. Goes to show what happens to the Bulls when Zach LaVine doesn't play amazing. Alright, you guys obviously know how Zach LaVine has been going off this season, and he deserves to be in the All-Star game. So I'm asking you guys to vote for Zach LaVine to be in the All-Star game. It would be disappointing if he wasn't in it. I would appreciate it big time if you vote for Zach LaVine. The basketball gods demanded even more sacrifice. Daniel Gafford is going to miss 2 to 4 weeks due to a dislocated thumb. With all these injuries, how will the Bulls win any games? The Bulls are now 15-28 and 10th in the Eastern Conference. They play the Cavs today, and they need to win. If they do, the Bulls could easily get to 9th, and maybe if they win a couple more, get to 8th. Hopefully they win this game and more on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of our Bulls. There were 4 games this week for the Bulls squad, so let's talk about them. The Cavs are a team that is terrible but can surprise you sometimes. Let's take this game as a surprise. This game was pretty close in the first and early second, but in the late second quarter, the Bulls found a way. The Bulls were down 19 at the start of the fourth. Are you kidding me? You're playing the Cavs. You should be destroying them. Yet you're down 19. The Bulls were about to lose, but Zach LaVine wasn't having it. He put on the backpack in the fourth. LaVine scored 22 points in the fourth, finishing with 42 on the night. If he isn't an all-star, I don't know who is. Obviously, the Bulls needed some help from the Cavs to come back. Thankfully, they went full Cleveland mode and had 14 turnovers. What a win for the Bulls, as for the first time I can say that somehow the Bulls found a way to win. The Bulls played the Bucks again, and at this point you already know the outcome. The Bulls kept it close, but they were no match for the Bucks, led by Giannis can somehow shoot threes now on Antetokounmpo. Zach LaVine had 24, as once again he is the only bright spot on this dying team. This game was an automatic L from the start, so I'm not surprised at how this game went. The Timberwolves are also a dying team looking for life. Thankfully, the Bulls took the life out of them and were up 10 at the end of the first and 9 at halftime. They were up 17 in the third quarter. Zach LaVine had 25 and had his way in this game. But of course, every Bulls lead has to be blown. The fourth quarter was back and forth until with 2 minutes left, Zach LaVine made a 3, giving the Bulls the lead, and they never looked back. Good win for the Bulls, but they need to keep this momentum going. They didn't keep it going. The Bulls played the Kings and just had no life offensively. They only scored 81 points. Zach LaVine had 21 and scored over a quarter of this team's total points. I mean, the Kings scored 98, so it's not like this was an ugly game for both teams. The Bulls are just inconsistent, and that needs to change fast. The basketball gods somehow want even more sacrifice. Lauri Markkanen will be out 4 to 6 weeks due to a right pelvis injury. With other injuries to Bulls starters now including Lauri Markkanen, this season is inching closer to garbage. The Bulls are now 17-30 and 10th in the Eastern Conference. The games for the Bulls next week are all winnable. They play the Cavs, Spurs, Pacers, and Nets. Hopefully they win those games on the next episode of the Blunders of our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of our Bulls. I was very disappointed in the NBA this week, so let's talk about it. See, this is how the Bulls are supposed to play versus the Cavs. Complete domination. The scoreboard doesn't tell the story. The Bulls played a way better game than the Cavs. Zach LaVine had 44 as he led the charge against the Cavaliers. The Bulls outplayed the Cavs and had an easy victory. If only we could play this good every game. The Bulls had a tough match against the Spurs on Monday. The game was back and forth with little defense by both sides. The only reason the Spurs were in this game was because they made 23 free throws, and the Bulls kept fouling them and putting them at the line. But DeMar DeRozan had an incredible night. He couldn't be stopped. He had 36 points on 11 of 21 shooting, but he made 14 free throws in that game. Zach LaVine had 23, and he was the main scorer, of course, but Denzel Valentine had 16 points and was the spark the Bulls needed to take the lead in the fourth quarter. With the game tied inside 1 minute, Zach LaVine hit 2 clutch free throws to give the Bulls a 2-point lead. But Chris Dunn hard choked and fouled DeMar DeRozan in the final second. He has made 14 free throws in this game, so it's pretty clear that we're going into overtime. He hits the first one, but DeMar DeRozan found a way and missed the second free throw. The Bulls won because of a choke by DeMar DeRozan, but they still played a good game. Good win, but the road gets tough. The Bulls played the Pacers, and I know what you're thinking. A team over 500, this is going to be an L. But the Bulls were keeping it close with them. It was tied most of the game. And they were playing good. Zach LaVine had 20, which means one thing. This game was a team effort. Everybody was playing good. In the fourth quarter, the Bulls were looking to put the game away, up by 3 with less than 20 seconds. All they needed to do was not give up a 3 and they win. But of course, the Bulls found a way. Victor Oladipo drilled a 3 to tie the game. The sad thing is that he was 0 for 7 from 3 until he shot that. Good time to hit your first 3, I guess. But with 5 seconds, Zach LaVine was driving to the rim. When he went to shoot, he got hacked on the arm by Victor Oladipo, but the refs didn't call it. I mean, look at this. How is this not a foul? You know what? I'm going to slow this down. Look at that. How did the refs not call that? Zach LaVine got absolutely hacked. Come on, refs. We should have won. Zach LaVine should be at the line. And he would have hit both free throws. And we should have won this game. But the game went into overtime. And the Bulls ran out of gas and lost. This is a disgrace. The Bulls should have won this game. And it should have never went into overtime. The Bulls played the Nets in a very important game. But of course, the Bulls didn't come to play, as they were down double digits most of this game. Kyrie Irving went off and dropped 54 points. He only missed 4 shots. Zach LaVine had 22, but it didn't matter. The Pacers game took all the life out of this team. The Bulls just didn't play good, and that's why they lost. How did Zach LaVine not make the All-Star game? He had been amazing, having the best season of his entire career, and he is hard carrying the Bulls. Kyle Lowry made it, he's averaging 19. Chris Middleton made it, he's averaging 20. Zach LaVine is averaging 25, and he didn't make it! NBA, please fix the way you do your All-Star teams, because it's obviously horrible. Zach LaVine got snubbed, and it makes me so mad, because he's having an incredible season. Kobe Bryant is dead at 41 years of age due to a helicopter crash. I was never really a fan of Kobe, but I respected his game and his mentality. He was one of the best to ever play, and he changed the game forever. He was a great role model to any athlete, and I can't believe he's gone so soon. Also, his daughter dead at 13, man. My thoughts go out to the Bryant family and anybody close to Kobe. This is something we will never forget, but we have to move on. It's what Kobe would have wanted. Let's take a moment of silence for Kobe Bryant, please. The Bulls are now 19-32 and 9th in the Eastern Conference. They are only a couple games behind the Nets, so the Bulls can easily get into 8th. Their schedule next week, though, is tough. Hopefully they can pull off upsets on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. Only 2 games were played this week, so let's talk about them. The Raptors are the most underrated team in the NBA right now. They are on an 11-game winning streak and are 2nd in the Eastern Conference. The Bulls play a back-and-forth game as usual, but in the 4th quarter, the Bulls looked like they just gave up. I mean, for 3 quarters it was close. Nobody was up by more than 7. But of course, like usual in the 4th quarter, the Bulls found a way. Thaddeus Young had 21 points as somehow he went off and led the team in scoring. Zach LaVine had 18 as he broke his streak of 17 straight games of scoring 20 or more points. The Bulls just ran out of gas in the 4th quarter and lost to a really good Raptors team. The Pelicans are a young team just like the Bulls, but they have two things we don't: a healthy team and a good coach. This game in the first started out really good for the Bulls. They were up by 10, but then reality set in and the Bulls started playing below their potential again. The third quarter in this game was the turning point. The Bulls shot under 30%, while the Pelicans shot over 60% in that quarter. I'm gonna be honest, I was wrong about Zion. I thought he was going to be horrible after the injury, but he scored 20 points in this game. Zach LaVine had 22 as he tries his best every night to carry this team, but I don't think anybody could. This Bulls team is too injured to do anything. Maybe when Wendell Carter and Otto Porter come back, it'll be different. So, Lauri Markkanen wants out of Chicago? Well, I saw this coming. He doesn't get the shots he deserves. The team's medical staff didn't treat his injury before it got bad, and Jim Boylan ruined him. Well, since the Bulls GM was too incompetent to trade him before the deadline, he will probably test free agency and we will get nothing in return. The Bulls are now 19-34 and 10th in the Eastern Conference. Somehow the Wizards snuck into 9th after beating the Mavericks. Hopefully this doesn't last too long, as I don't think it will. The Wizards are garbage. After the Bulls play the 76ers, their schedule is easy. Hopefully the Bulls don't find a way on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. There were 2 games played this week, so let's get started. The 76ers are a playoff team. Simple as that. So when I saw the Bulls playing hard and keeping it close, I was surprised. For all the injuries the Bulls have, they played a really good game. Zach LaVine had 32, no surprise there, but Luke Kornet had 25 as he surprised everybody. This game came down to Joel Embiid hitting the luckiest 3 of his entire life. Good effort by the Bulls, I have no complaints. This was a big game for the Bulls. Win, and you have double the chance to make the playoffs. Lose, and you are digging an even deeper hole to get out of. After the 76ers game where the Bulls played well, they looked like a whole different team. The Bulls forgot how to play defense in this game, simple as that. But their offense was keeping them in this game. Until the third quarter, where of course, the Bulls found a way. The Wizards pretty much had a wide open layup or dunk every possession in the third. The Bulls tried their best to come back in the fourth, but their effort was too late. Zach LaVine had 41, going 8 for 11 from 3. He was shooting any shot he wanted pretty much, and it was going in. This was a game we should have won. This is a game we needed to win. Now our playoff chances are getting slimmer and slimmer. But there is a chance. The Bulls still have a chance to make the playoffs, believe it or not. That's how bad the East is. The injured starters are all coming back soon. Wendell Carter Jr. is supposed to come back the game after the All-Star break. Otto Porter and Lauri Markkanen are supposed to come back by the end of February. When they come back, and if the Bulls play how they should, I believe that they can make the playoffs. The Bulls are now 19-36 and 10th in the Eastern Conference. At this point, we are waiting for the injured starters to come back. After the Bulls come back from the All-Star break, they have a very easy schedule. They play the Hornets, Suns, Wizards, Thunder, and Knicks. If they don't win at least 3 of those games, we're gonna have a problem. Hopefully the Bulls get some wins on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. There was only 1 game played because of the All-Star break, but I have a lot to talk about. So Zach LaVine was in the 3-point contest, and I have to say, he did pretty good. 23 is a great score, but it wasn't enough to advance to the final round. In any other 3-point contest, 23 would probably get him to the finals. But with Devin Booker and Buddy Hield going Super Saiyan, it made Zach LaVine's 23 look average. Good performance by LaVine, I'm proud of it. The Bulls played the Hornets on Thursday. Wendell Carter Jr. was supposed to make his return, but he didn't as he is sidelined for at least another 2 games. With that, the Bulls still had a good chance to win this game, until the third quarter, where of course, the Bulls found a way. In the third quarter, the Bulls were down 21 until they somehow came back. But then Zach LaVine came out of the game, and the Hornets took a lead, and that was it. Thaddeus Young had a season-high 22 points in this game, as he did pretty good. Seems like the All-Star break cooled him off, as Zach LaVine only had 19 points, going 1 of 7 from 3. Injuries hurt the Bulls in this game, as they needed starters to come back quickly. The basketball gods for some reason cursed the Bulls and wanted another 2 sacrifices. Denzel Valentine is going to be out a couple of games with a hamstring injury. Luke Cornett will be out a couple of games with an ankle injury. With half the team injured, this season is 90% of the way to garbage. The Bulls are now 19-37 and 11th in the Eastern Conference. With the loss to the Hornets, the Bulls moved down to 11th as the Hornets took their spot in 10th. Our playoff chances are pretty much gone now, but there is still a sliver of a chance. The Bulls still have a very easy schedule, and I believe they can win a couple of those games. Hopefully the injured players return on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. There were 3 games played this week and they were all close. The Suns are not a good team this year, and it showed, with the Bulls getting out to a 17-point lead in this game. At halftime, the lead was 10. The Bulls were playing good and on their way to a win. Until the third quarter, where as always, the Bulls found a way. They played like a whole different team in the second half, as the 10-point lead was quickly blown. After halftime, we ran out of gas and couldn't keep up. Zach LaVine had 20 points and not having the best night, but Kobe White had 33 points as he had an amazing game for a rookie. We should have won, but the Bulls are the Bulls. The Wizards won the last game they played against the Bulls, but this time it was different. The Bulls played good basketball for once and actually outplayed the Wizards as he led by 20 in the third quarter. Zach LaVine had 32 points as he's starting to heat up. Kobe White had 33 again as he is proving he should be a starter on this team. Things got a little too close in the fourth quarter when the Wizards cut the lead to 9, but that's the closest they got. Good win for the Bulls as that snapped their 8-game losing streak. Wow, that is terrible. The Bulls played the Thunder and got out to a horrible start. It was 20-6 a couple minutes into the first quarter. But the Bulls were coming back. They played better basketball after the first quarter. In the fourth quarter, the Bulls actually had a lead. It looked like they were going to win. But then they got into foul trouble and barely lost. Zach LaVine had 41 points and Kobe White had 35 as they tried their best to carry this team to a win. Despite Zach LaVine hitting an outstanding 3 with 20 seconds left, the Bulls lost by 2. The Bulls are now 20-39 and 11th in the Eastern Conference. We were only 1 game behind the Hornets and Wizards, who were in 10th and 9th, so a win against the Knicks today and another win after that puts us in 9th if the Hornets and Wizards don't win. Hopefully the new duo of Zach LaVine and Kobe White can carry the Bulls to some wins on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. There were 4 games played this week, so let's get started. I'm just going to take this game as a sick joke because we lost to the Knicks! This is about the worst defense I've seen the Bulls play all season. And Wendell Carter Jr. was back, our best paint defender. We let Taj Gibson score a will in the paint. We let Mitchell Robinson get a new career high in points. Zach LaVine had 26 as he said something has to change, and I agree. This game was disgraceful. It was hard to watch. This was supposed to be the easy game. But nothing is easy when the Bulls find a way. The basketball gods have killed my spirits by wanting another sacrifice. Zach LaVine has a sore quad and will be out for a week. Hopefully he can come back soon because our team cannot score without him. The Bulls started off the Mavericks game like any other game, being down 10 at halftime. But in the second half, something strange happened. The Bulls started playing lockdown defense. Our G League player, Adam Makoko, was shutting down Luka Doncic. Without Zach LaVine, Kobe White led the team with 19 points. Otto Porter finally returned from injury and had 18 points. The Bulls were up in the second half. I couldn't believe what I was watching. With 20 seconds left, the Bulls were up by 8. This game's in the bag, right? But of course, somehow, the Bulls found a way. In 15 seconds, the lead went from 8 points to 2 points because of chokes on the inbound passes and chokes at the free throw line. But thankfully, the Mavericks had to throw up a half-court shot at the end and missed. Great win for the Bulls, but can we carry the momentum for once? Again, this was an easy game. The Timberwolves don't have Karl-Anthony Towns, and the Bulls got out to a 13-point lead in the first quarter. And the lead was still intact at halftime. But of course, as always in the third quarter, the Bulls found a way. How do they do this every time? Their offense was great in the first half, even without Zach LaVine. But in the third quarter, all the offense they had just disappeared. Plus, the defense was non-existent. Kobe White had 26 points as he did his part, but the rest of the team was horrible. We even had Lauri Markkanen as he came back from injury, but we still lost to the Timberwolves. This game I'm not mad at all at. The Bulls played the Pacers, and they are a good playoff team. The Bulls couldn't score without Zach LaVine, simple. Even without Malcolm Brogdon, the Pacers destroyed us. Even with that, the Bulls still had a chance to win, only down 7 with 3 minutes left. But of course, the Bulls found a way. They missed about every shot in that last 3 minutes. Shaquille Harrison somehow led the team in scoring with 25 points. But even with that, it goes down as another Bulls loss. The Bulls are now 21-42 and 11th in the Eastern Conference. Yes, I know we have twice the amount of losses as wins, and that's kind of sad. The Bulls need to win against the Nets and Cavs to get back on track. The Nets are now without Kyrie and KD, so we could win that game. Zach LaVine should be coming back in one of these games, so that's good. Hopefully Zach LaVine comes back on the next episode of the Blunders of Our Bulls. This week on the Blunders of Our Bulls. There are only 2 games played this week, so let's talk about them and other serious topics. The Nets are now without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. With those injuries, of course the Bulls are still without Zach LaVine. Even with that, the Bulls are still up 5 at the end of the first quarter. Of course, that lead didn't last long. In the second, the Nets took the lead, but the Bulls still kept it close. But of course, the Nets dominated the third quarter, with their biggest lead being 13, and the lead being 7 at the end of the third. The Bulls tried their best to come back as they were scoring good. They just couldn't get defensive stops. Unfortunately, with 3 minutes left, the Bulls were down 12. With a minute left, it wasn't looking good. The deficit was 9. But after a quick 3 and an and 1 by Kobe White on back-to-back possessions, the Nets' lead was cut to 6. After a stop on defense, Otto Porter cut the lead to 3. Could the Bulls actually complete a comeback for once? All they need is one stop.
Wings it. Prince attacks. Hangs. Bank shot is.
Of course. Okay, they still have a chance. After a quick Markkanen dunk, the lead was only 3. After an absolute choke by the Nets, the Bulls got the ball back, only down 3. Bulls have it in the hands of Kobe White. It all comes down to this.
White looking for the tie. Rimming out. It was halfway down and it's knocked out.
In and out. Of course. The basketball gods let us come all the way back, just for them to make us lose on an in-and-out three. Kobe White had 21 leading the team and would have had 24, but of course in-and-out three. The ending of this game was disappointing, but good effort from the Bulls. The Bulls played the Cavs, and coming into this game, I wasn't saying it was going to be easy. After the Knicks game, nothing is easy for the Bulls. Through one quarter, this game was back and forth, as that continued for the entire first half. The biggest lead was a 5-point Bulls lead. The Bulls had a 7-point lead in the third, but that didn't last long, and the game was tied heading into the fourth. In the fourth, with about 5 minutes left, the Bulls took a 10-point lead. Somehow Matthew Dellavedova decided to turn clutch and hit 2 straight threes, cutting the lead to 4. With a minute left, the lead was 2. Inside 20 seconds, Kobe White missed a shot, but a clutch rebound by Shaquille Harrison gave him a chance to ice the game at the free throw line. He did. Kobe White had 20 points as he finally got put in the starting lineup. Wendell Carter Jr. had 17 points as he put in a good effort. Good win for the Bulls, but little did they know, they wouldn't have a chance to go on a winning streak. As you all know, the coronavirus has spread to the United States and has been infecting more and more people in the US. On Monday, Rudy Gobert decided to joke around and touch every microphone in a post-game interview. 2 days later, he was tested positive for the coronavirus. As a response, the NBA suspended the season. Nobody knows when games will be resumed, but it will be at least 30 days before games return. Rudy Gobert is not the only player to be tested positive. His teammate Donovan Mitchell has also been tested positive for the coronavirus. Not only has NBA been suspended, other leagues such as the NHL, MLB, and NCAA basketball have all shut down gameplay. I don't know when games will continue, but obviously I cannot produce new episodes if no games are played. This will be the last episode for at least a month. Stay safe, everybody. The Bulls are now 22-43 and 11th in the Eastern Conference. Of course, the season has been suspended, but when they do come back, the Bulls will play the Magic in their first game. Zach LaVine will obviously be ready to play, and maybe even players like Chris Dunn and Luke Kornet will be active. Who even knows when there will be the next episode of the Blunders of our Bulls. This season finale edition of the Blunders of our Bulls. I know it has been a long time, but that is because of the season suspension that you all know of. The NBA has finally decided to resume the season. The season will take place in Orlando, Florida, and will start on July 31st. There will be no fans in attendance and only 22 teams have been selected to play. The Bulls are not one of those teams. They did not get an invite as only teams with playoff chances got one. So that means the Bulls season is officially over. Which also means, unfortunately, that I cannot make any more of these videos if the Bulls are not playing games. But before we conclude this season, I will talk about the new front office. The Bulls have hired a new vice president, general manager, vice president of player personnel, and assistant general manager. Now this is great and all, but there's one major thing we are forgetting. A new coach. Jim Boylan has been absolute AIDS as a coach, and we need a new one if we want to do something next year. Now for the roster. I say they should build around Zach LaVine and Kobe White, trade Willie Markkinen and Otto Porter for better players, and get a good player in the draft this year as they will have another good pick. With that being said, I have one thing to say to you. If this video gets 10 likes, I will bring back Blunders of Our Bulls for a second season. If this video doesn't get 10 likes, this is the last episode of the series. With that being said, thank you for the support on this series, and I hope you enjoyed, as this is the end of the first season of the Blunders of Our Bulls.